And so now these humans, these agencies are stuck with going with these other platforms that are available out there that are catering, clearly saying, we hate the middleman like you. Huh. And I'm like, what's going on here?
Hey everybody, thank you for joining us and welcome to the Founder. Actually, let me stop one more time just so there's like a little, so it's like a good break. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Ready? Hey everybody, thank you for joining us and welcome to the Founders in LA podcast. I'm your host, Ethan Cole, and this is an opportunity to shine the spotlight through a product lens on some of the exceptional founders we have as part of the LA community in an unedited, one-take organic conversation. With us in the studio today is Julio Chaves. Thanks so much for coming down, Julio.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's good to be here, Ethan. I'm enjoying Los Angeles, obviously, as an Australian accent comes out of a name called Julio.
Right. Story behind that, hopefully we'll tap into in a bit. But thanks for coming down. First, we got to do a word from our sponsors. Founders in LA is brought to you by Nearshore. Nearshore is a trailblazer in nearshore outsourcing and staff augmentation. With over 15 years of experience offering exceptional Latin American software, data, product, and design talent for U.S. projects, Nearshore has revolutionized the way companies scale their teams. They stand apart with 50% female leadership, are trusted by companies large and small, and have been helping U.S. customers grow since before nearshoring was cool. Discover how Nearshore can power your tech goals and help you stay lean while scaling fast. Learn more at www.nearshore.com. That's www.nearsure.com. We're also brought to you by United Club. United Club is a co-working space that sets itself apart. With locations in El Segundo, Manhattan Beach, and Hermosa, United is where creativity flourishes. Unlike traditional offices, they provide an inspiring environment where ideas can thrive and businesses can grow. With United, there's no hidden fees, flexible terms, options for dedicated offices, and unlimited access to conference rooms, a photo studio, this podcast studio, plus stand-in 3D printers, and 24/7 access at any of their locations. They are local champions who support neighborhood businesses, open their event spaces to nonprofits, and celebrate art, music, and culture. Join United Club and experience co-working like never before. Learn more at www.united.club. That's www.unita.club. Our guest today is Julio Chaves. He's the founder and CEO at XrossWorld. And Julio, could you just give us a 30-second description of XrossWorld?
Sure. What we're doing here at XrossWorld is we're building technology to enable advertising agencies to help them scale their influencer marketing campaigns. So we use artificial intelligence and streamline workflows, launching our whole platform in the next quarter. So it's exciting times. A lot of these technology platforms in the past have been thinking of like, how do we disrupt the middleman? And I'm thinking, wait, why don't we enable the middleman? So I'm going definitely against the groove on this one.
Oh, tell me more about, enabling the middleman.
So for a long time, we have these middlemen, right? Car salespeople, agencies, advertising agencies that have some form of relationship already with brands.
Right.
And as we grow with autonomous living, AI and everything else like that, a lot of people feel like that the middle person who's taking a cut of the pie is not really worth it anymore. And so these platforms out there, they're like, wait, hold on a second. People want human connection still. And human connection, relationship building. And so in my field, which is marketing and influencer marketing and working with brands, bigger brands really enjoy having that human connection.
Right.
And allowing another human to go, hey, can you help us manage this? And so now these humans, these agencies are stuck with going with these other platforms that are available out there that are catering, clearly saying, we hate the middleman like you. Huh. And I'm like, what's going on here? So yeah, the goal of that is not only just to help, these small to medium sized agencies that are out there struggling to offer, benefits with influencer marketing to their customers, but we also have another underlying mission, which is we want to support creators through their journey. If you're a new creator or a new influencer or creator that hasn't yet had your big moment yet, not too sure on how much to charge or anything else, or anything in general about creating content or how to work with brands. So we see that there's a lot of opportunities here where we can also be a place for creators to grow their business as well.
Wow, there's a couple of things that I'd love to tap into on that. I think for one is an interesting observation is from that you're providing is like these idea that brands want to make it feel closer to the customer. And the thing that comes to mind is now it's just like a plethora of car commercials and other commercials where they like have like real people, and they do like, you know, they have like real people are like in like a sound stage, and they like unveil a car, and so they try to get the real reactions of real people. And I feel like that's a trend over the last, you know, 5 years or so from like, hey, here's our celebrity spokesperson, listen to the celebrity. Now they want people to like look at real people because they trust people. And now it sounds like they're coming even closer to people. So instead of like images of people on a screen, they're like surprised in this you know, warehouse. They actually want to get closer to influencers and closer to maybe micro influencers. Is that kind of it? So they're like, if we remove this middleman of this agency model and we're getting closer to the actual people who use our stuff, it's that human connection. It's the reference point that, hey, I don't know Matthew McConaughey. I'm sure like Buicks are great. I like him in movies, but I don't really know him and trust him. But, you know, my friend on Instagram or LinkedIn, I do know them. I do trust and value their opinion. And if they are connecting with these brands in a way that was never before possible, I'd be more likely to trust whatever they're saying.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. I'm going to add to that too. What you're saying is true. And we know this because word of mouth is the oldest marketing tool. Right. But today we live in a digital world. It's a lot different to what it was before. And when we say we've been living in a digital world for quite some time now, right? It's not like, wow, it happened in 2020, all of a sudden the whole world is now digital. It's been digital for a while. But I think that whole episode that we had in the Globe of what happened in 2020, that just sort of like propelled the whole aspect from artificial intelligence to digital world, Web3, the whole creativity. And so tying it back to trust over authenticity versus trust over influence is a big thing. But what we want to foster here with our creators, it's more of like, don't be an influencer. Hey, look at me, I just won an award. Or hey, look, I just did bodybuilding and all that. You can do that, right? There's an audience for that, right?
Right.
But it's better to be an influencer like, hey, this is what I believe in. This is the community that I want to build in. If anyone wants to follow, let's do it. But my goal here is to learn as much as I can about this industry, to educate others where I can, and to build a community that believes in the same thing as I do. Versus like, hey, look at me, I did all this. So there's different types of influencers, right? And I think the smart content creators are really focusing on how they can help their audience versus, hey, buy this as a discount, which is a great help, by the way. Yeah. But it's more like, what journey is that creator or influencer taking the audience on? And does the audience have an affinity to that? And then what's the engagement? So it's definitely, yes, trust and loyalty is built through authentic messaging, more so than it's ever been before. But I guess it's, for anyone that's watching out here that's a potential creator or an influencer, if you think otherwise, fair. But I would recommend for everyone to think of like, how do we educate my audience about something that I'm passionate about or I believe in?
So how do you do that? So you know, I'm a creator who wants to help, you know, teach an audience something. How can XrossWorld help bridge that with brands?
Yeah, so there is a big problem in the industry right now, which there is no standardized monetization for influencers. So it's hard for, like, you know, you get out of college and you're going to apply for your first job and it's like, oh, whatever, $20 an hour or whatever it is. You know you're going to get $20 an hour, right, for doing that job. An influencer, no. Like, you can't just go there and say, what's a typical cost for this, right? Because it's so many variables to it, right? The production value, for an example, that takes time and effort, right? So what we tend to do with these creators is go and analyze what they're currently doing at a micro level or nano level or a macro level.
Okay.
So if you're an influencer with 1,000 followers, let's say that's nano. If you're an influencer with 10,000 followers, that's a micro. And if you're an influencer with, say, like, I don't know, 50,000 plus, you're sort of like starting to get more of a marquee scenario, right?
Right.
So with the ones that are sort of marquee, they already understand the audience. They understand what the audience are interested in. But the younger ones, the ones that are sort of starting off, we tend to go and say, hey, what are you passionate about? Is it something at home, sports, your children, right? Home goods, education, learning, AI, sharing. What are you passionate about talking about? What sort of, like if you're at high school, what debate would you like to have, right? And discuss. So that's sort of like the first step. It's like understand what you really enjoy and then talk about that and then see who else enjoys listening to that or watching that.
Are you building? Are you building a platform, or do you have like a roadmap to build the platform to scale? Because I feel like there's enough people that fall into that bucket, and it does feel like having conversation with some of the younger folks around that idea of becoming an influencer is at like top of the list for a lot of folks as in a job description. Like, they'd love to be an influencer. It'd be like where I'd like to go to. So from where I'm looking at it, it looks like it's a good market to be in because there's the want, and if you provide the enablement to how, sounds like there could be serious traction there. Yeah.
So here's the thing. So okay, we've been using the term influencer a lot on social media, like, oh, that's an influencer and things like that. I think of it more like this: like we're living in a world where everything's digital, and you can be an influencer, or I prefer to call them content creators.
Okay.
Right. So let's call them content creators for this sake. So you can be a content creator and you can create any type of content on any sort of platform, podcasts, your social media platforms. You could be a musician, right? Creating content and putting it out there on Spotify, right? That's some form of digital content. And so the point here is that you don't have to do this because you want to become an influencer. You should do this because you want to have a conversation with people that have similar interests to you. And that's it. Like, if you think you're coming in here because you want to become famous and all that type of things, oh man.
Yeah, that's not a good path for you to take. Yeah, if you want to make money quick, it's also not a great path to take.
It's not a great path. Yeah. So yes, we're building a platform. And so the key with this platform that we're going to be releasing is it's going to go in phases, right? This is not my first rodeo. I've done a few companies before, right? So it's going to go in phases. But the first phase really is just to be able to connect influencers that have been approved to brand deals as quickly as possible, as transparent as possible in terms of how much money you're going to get and why you're going to get that money for. For an example, you can't go or maybe you can, like on YouTube and X and all of these other platforms, they have their paid advertisements rev share scenario. And Mr. Beast did one a while ago on X. He posted a video there and he wanted to see how much money he could make from ad revenue.
Okay.
To compare YouTube versus X, right? I think Elon Musk must have even dared him or something like that, right? Or he dared Elon Musk. And he was saying, look, it's really hard to determine like who's the better playing platform. He made money off it, but he was like, maybe I could make a little bit more money from YouTube or a little bit more for X. So there is no sort of algorithm like, oh, cool, I'm going to post on X and I'm going to get, 1,000 views. So I'm going to get 1 cent per 1,000 views, right? There is some form of metrics there, but it's not like clear.
Right.
Why is that? Why am I getting paid 1 cent for 1,000 views? And who are these views by?
Exactly, yeah.
Right? Is that a bot somewhere? And so what we want to do is modify that, right? New agent. Make it more relevant to what's happening in the world versus like, have you heard of CPM before? Cost per 1,000.
Right.
So it's like, sometimes we even speak to influencers, the young influencers, right? Because a lot of these influencers are also very young and we're like, hey, do you know how many impressions you get or how many plays you'd get? And some of them, yeah. Do you know how much you would charge that for impression? Like, what? I charge for impressions? I didn't know that. So it's an early stage for the industry, 100%. But it's the future, no doubt about it.
Well, I can see how the transparency would be very interesting from the content creator perspective, and then just knowing who those impressions are, so understanding your actual value. And I feel like that is probably a piece to the puzzle that is very opaque right now.
Yeah, and then how can we, by being transparent? Okay, here's a cool thing, right? When you're running the team, you're going to have to motivate your team, and you can motivate your team through your ideas and things like that, but some financial motivation as well, right? So here's the thing about being transparent, and why I see the benefit of being transparent with creators is that now creators can see where they're at today and what they hold, right? What their value is. Let's just say followers for this example here.
Right.
And they can see that there's a matrix there, right? Like if they reach to 20,000 followers, they know that they can get so much more money. So that's an incentive for that person to get more audience, grow further engagement, and they can see that clearly. There's no hidden costs or hidden, terms and conditions and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, it's so much easier to achieve a goal when you know what that goal is, other than, you could be closer to than you think, and some people give up, and it could have been a thing where like, oh, well, if you just kept going a little bit further, it would actually you hit the inflection point and things would have changed.
Correct. Yeah.
So how did you find yourself in this seat? It sounds, you have some multiple companies. So how did you start at XrossWorld? And I guess in general, did you expect to be an entrepreneur growing up? Do you expect to have multiple companies, or is this something you kind of fell into?
Man, that's one of the most interesting questions for me anyway. How did I become an entrepreneur? It's not like you wake up one day and it's like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. For me anyway. Right. For me, it's sort of like, this is my fourth company, by the way. I've had a couple of exits as well. And I've had one not so good times, but that's how life works, right? So for me, it wasn't like, oh, I'm waking up tomorrow and I'm going to build a business and I'm going to conquer the world and this is a clear path to success and all these type of things, right?
Right.
For me, it was more of like curiosity. Like, I wonder if I can do that, right? And curiosity was mainly sparked by looking at my peers and my network or what's happening in the media. I'm a very curious human being. I was like, I wonder if I could do that, but what am I passionate about? And then that just stayed inside my head for a minute, right? I went traveling around the world at 17 by myself. And then when I came back from a trip, I was like, I'm not sure if I have it. So let's just move out of home and all those things and grow up and all that, right? And so that's when I moved to Sydney, back down under. And from there, I was like, okay, I'm going to do an acting career, right? I'm going to become an actor, become famous, right? I want to become famous. I think I was like 19 or something like that.
Right. So
let's go and do my degree in acting, and let's make that happen. And as you're going through these processes of young adulthood, you're not really sure what you want to do. You want to just give it a go at everything. A friend of mine, his name was called Cash. I think he gave it to himself, right?
That's awesome.
Hey, my name's Cash. He gave it to himself, I think. He called me up one day and said, hey, listen, Julia, I know you're struggling a little bit with money. Why don't you come and work with me? And we're doing door-to-door sales. And I'm like, man, I don't know how to do door-to-door sales. I was working in hospitality, in the kitchen. I think I was selling suits in Myers. Myers is like a department store back in Australia, back in the heydays. And he's like, no, just give it a go. You've got a good personality, you'll be fine. I was like, okay, got nothing to lose, let's do it. And so this is in 2002, give or take a little bit there. And mobile phones at that time were still like taboo-ish. Like I was knocking on doors. And I was like, hey.
Certainly not for like, for trying to market to people. Never at all. Yeah.
Not at all. Like the biggest sort of like no's were coming from, oh, that's going to give me cancer. Why do I need a mobile phone? I have a mobile phone at home.
Oh, just actually not even marketing with my cell phones, just cell phones in general.
Cell phones in general. So the door-to-door sales job that I got was for a telecommunication company called Hutchison Telecommunication, which was later bought by Orange Telecommunication. Oh, nice. It's a European and Hong Kong type of company.
Okay.
Orange is very big in Europe.
Yeah.
I think they still are anyway. And so the goal of that was knock as many doors as you can between allowed hours. So there's rules that you have to follow when you do door-to-door sales, right? And typically those rules would be From Monday to Saturday you work, and you're out on the field in the suburbs, and you're knocking doors from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. when everyone comes home from work. This is, mind you, this is 2002, so people had 9 to 5 jobs. There's none of this like work from home type of stuff that we have today, right?
Right.
So I'm knocking the door. You're tired from work. You had a horrible day. I'm like, hey, my name is Julio. I'm from Orange. Do you want to buy a mobile phone? And people are like, what? Mobile phone? That's going to give you cancer. I already have a home phone. If they want to reach me, they can reach me on my home phone.
Yeah.
Like who? I don't want to be reached anytime. And look at today. Like today, everyone carries a mobile phone in their pocket, right? I saw a meme the other day that all of these things on this picture, it was like video games, it was like a radio, it was like a set play, it was a book, games, all of that fits in one device now, right? So yeah, I started my career there on door-to-door sales. That was horrible to start with. And after a while, I started to learn a little bit about like understanding how to read, the buyer, for an example, and what their needs would be. We could go deep on that, but I don't think it's worth it right now. But from that moment onwards, I was like, wow, I know how to sell. And people really like me for whatever reason. And I really enjoy martial arts.
Okay.
Right? And I was that was the thing I did when I was a kid. It's martial arts, and I grew up doing martial arts. I've actually haven't stopped. I've been doing it for 25 years now. And my teacher who was teaching, so I was born in Brazil and grew up in Australia. So English is my third language.
Hence Julio Chaves.
Hence Julio Chaves, yeah. We don't say Julio in Brazil. We say actually Julio. But
in Australia, it loses all the...
Or in Australia, they just go Jules.
Yeah, Jules.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I went to my martial arts teacher and I said, look, listen, I think you have a great opportunity here. I can help you in these areas here where your weaknesses are at, like selling, building business models and stuff like that. And do you want to go partners? And he's going, look, I've got no money to pay you. And I'm like, don't worry about it. We'll do this for 3 months. If I can show some level of growth, and let's aim for this growth here, then we're in 50-50 partners. And then in the next 3 months, we should be able to have enough revenue where I can pull a salary. This is my plan. And he's like, sure. It's not going to cost him anything. And I showed him the plan, what I thought, what I saw, the future of his sort of like small martial arts studio, right?
Right.
And then that's how it all started. And it went bang. It was like, cool. I didn't know anything. I had to figure it out. The only thing I knew was I could pick up the phone and call people and close deals. So I was like, okay, I got that one skill set, an asset, right? That's my asset, right? Let's do it. And then from there it just grew. We built that martial arts studio, had over 1,000 students paying $250 a month. On a monthly basis, we get like anywhere between 30 to 40 new students. It was a small business, but it was an eye-opener. And then we built a not-for-profit organization. And from there, we built a college for students who study abroad. And then the martial arts school turned into an entertainment business. And then I sold that entertainment business. And then the college for students studying abroad, that became massive. I traveled to like 36 different countries, bringing students from all around the world to come and study in Australia.
Martial arts? Or just
no, this was sports and fitness. It was a completely different field. So we pivoted from martial arts and integrated. We were actually the very first college in Australia to offer a degree that has a subject in martial arts to students who studied abroad, with a pathway into university of the Australian Physical Education School, which was in Homebush Olympic Park. So we were the very first on doing that, right? And it all spawned from martial arts, from this passion. So we were doing like teaching people how to become surf coaches, tennis coaches, soccer coaches, sports development, anything to do with related with sports.
Yeah.
Right? It grew really big. By the end of it, we had over, I think when I left, so I sold the company in 2017, full exit and all that. But when we sold it, I think we had about 15 different curriculums on our scope of work. We had 4 different campuses, thousands of students. So it was an amazing journey. And so when I sold that, I was like, okay, this is it. I'm done. So much responsibilities of paying staff,
Right.
Let's do it. And then I was like, okay, let me go back to my acting career and see how that goes. And that's why I moved to LA originally, 7 years ago.
All right.
And then all of a sudden, a bit of a long story, but all of a sudden I was like, I realized when I was here in LA, amazing city, by the way, I was like, you know what? I think I know what I am. I'm an entrepreneur. I want to help people. So let me dive back into that. And then one day, one of my friends, who was the original co-founder, he went through a really bad time with his breakup. He was very depressed. And I was like, Yasha, my co-founder, Yasha, come with me every day for the next 6 weeks. We're going to train together, 6 a.m. on the dot, like you're going to the army.
Right.
Like 6 a.m., 7 days a week. And he's like, why? It's like, it's going to be good for your mental health, going to be good for your body, it's going to release endorphins and all this type of stuff. And we did it. He did it with me for 12 weeks. And after that, I was like, wow, this is amazing. He got better and everything else. We should start a company. I'm really good at coding and all these things. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to build a company again, from scratch again. And then we got to, now I'm at this age where it's like, it's more about synergy versus like anything else as well. That's a part of my decision-making process. Like, what's the synergy, right? And I was like, let's get to know each other a little bit more and then see what happens, and we'll, do some brainstorming and see where ideas come into. And then all of a sudden one day we were like, yep, let's do it. Let's start this. And I was like, what are we going to do? It's like, no, let's put a little plan together. This is our goal, objective, and mission. And so XrossWorld initially started as a platform to help other small businesses access influencers.
Okay.
Really simple model, really easy, like an agency model. And the goal with that was for us to learn. Learn is a key word here. Learn the 3 different variables in this industry. Variable 1 are the creators. Right? What do they like? What do they do? Can they deliver well? These are human beings that have been hired by entities that are not even part of the entity, subcontractors. So sometimes it can be unreliable. Like the construction industry has a big problem with that, So we're doing with that entity. We're doing with another entity, which are the brands who are paying this. And then we're later, we realized that agencies needed help, so they started reaching out to us. And then we're dealing with the third entity, which are agencies, who are, their customers are like, can you get influencer marketing for us? And like panicking, we don't know how to do this, but we don't want to lose this customer. So let's search for some influencer marketing agency specialists. And we get reached out all the time by different agencies. So we wanted to learn from those customers, from those entities. And as time built and built and built and built, I think it was around about 2022, we went out to raise a little bit of money, raise a small amount of money. We didn't need money. My key in business is like, how can you build a business profitable and be bootstrapped as long as possible? All right. And we raised a little bit of money, grew it, and then we realized, we have something even bigger than we realized. We were, at that time in 2021, 2022, we were sort of going along with the trend, where it's like, let's build a SaaS platform that enables the brands and the creators, so the brands don't need to use agencies, cut out the middleman.
Right.
And so we're going with that flow for a while, and then we realized, there's this opportunity, and that's when the big pivot came through, and I met some interesting people here in Los Angeles, amazing founders, entrepreneurs, operators, executors, investors, angels, whatever you want to call them, like just amazing people. Joshua Lee is one of them, great guy. He's a founder of Artius that got acquired by Gusto.
Okay.
Right. It's had a few exits as well. Interesting human being. So yeah, it was all how I got into XrossWorld and how XrossWorld happened was all of that story. So it didn't happen overnight. It was my origin story through the processes of me not being afraid of taking risks or failing and just giving it a go and just do it.
How important would you say was, and I think what's a key topic that it could be interesting to people who are listening is like, your path of not seeking venture capital, of trying to build profitable companies on your own, so you have to seek funding as much as some other folks out there. How important was that skill of learning the sale, learning how to read people and knowing, have a superpower? Like, I know I can pick up a phone and people will listen, and I can oftentimes close deals. When you created, let's pick motocross. Like, no, sorry, just CrossWorld. I don't know why I always think it was. I
love motocross, by the way. I love motocross, by the way.
I say CrossWorld, not motocross. When you're starting CrossWorld, how did you find those first customers? How'd you get customer number one? Because it's a new space for you.
Yeah.
So how'd you get that first one?
Yeah. I'm going to take you back to the origin story of door knocking.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I did. We were like, okay, the potential of this product is global, but we can't reach the global masses. There's only one of me. So what do we do locally or geo target? And so I door knocked. I went to small businesses throughout LA and knocked their doors and said, hey, I'm Julio. I'm the founder of XrossWorld. We're building something fantastic with or without you. I want to see if you want to be part of this. And that was it.
Literally,
with or without you.
Literally knocking on doors.
Literally going Studio City, Culver City, Hollywood, Santa Monica, down the OC, doors, every business. Of course, I'll pick up the phone and say, hey, can I make an appointment? I want to see the business owners. Sometimes it'd be yes or no. Sometimes it's like, you know what? I'm not even going to call. I'm just going to rock up and say, hey, is the owner here somewhere? Can I speak to them? And they don't know why I want to speak to them. They're probably thinking I want to become a customer, right? But my value proposition is like, hey, I want to help you. And I can help you with you or without you. Eventually your neighbors will be there, getting it. And then you're going to jump on this. And so we got our first few customers that way and we tested that way. And the same thing with creators. Like we had to go through the struggles which is a lot, probably 99% of the businesses in the US and globally are still doing it this way, which is ridiculous, but it is what you got to do, which is be scrappy. And so I was scrappy when I was acquiring our first creators because we didn't have a platform at that time. So I was just DMing them. I had a couple of friends who were good influencers and that, but they were too big for this type of project. And so I'm like DMing random peoples, and it took me about 30 days to get 10 people interested in what we were doing. But I met with them. They're all local influencers. We went out for dinner and got to know each other. And then I was like, okay, this is the job I have for you guys. You guys have to help me promote these businesses. And this is sort of like a loose script and this and this. And it was it. It was done. From there, it never stopped. And then we tested with a few customers without getting any sort of revenue. And then when we felt comfortable with our technology and our product, we're like, okay, now we've added some new features. If you want to get those features, it's going to cost you this money. Or you can continue using it for free. And then that's how we started getting customers paying for us, right? Today, it's much more advanced. But door knocking, 100%. Go out there, meet people. Go networking and, hey, I'm Julio. I'm building this great company. What do you do? Oh, wow, you run a software company? Great, let's get together. Maybe there's something we could do. Like, so you got to do that. Like, you got to go out there and talk to people, right?
Well, I think it's fantastic too, and this might be a good clarification too. I think a lot of early stage founders will go out and talk to people, but I think one of the hooks that you do is you're not just going there. And it's not just like a informational interview with a potential prospect customer, just to like have some R&D in your back pocket. Like you're actually approaching it in a sales perspective as a prospect, even if you are still getting the information to figure out how you're molding your product. But you're saying, hey, start with the sale. Start by approaching them as a sale, how you are going to present your value prop. Why is it important for them? Why is there synergy? And can you double click into the synergy and how you use that on the early door-to-door sales for XrossWorld? Yeah,
I hear a lot of this sort of thing like, what's your PMF, product market fit? What's your PMF? You got to get your PMF down and then you get your customers, right? And so I hear a lot of that and I'm like, ooh, don't do that. Like, go and ask who you think your customers are and then ask them, hey, would this be helpful to you? If I was to do this and build this technology and give it to you for free or whatever it is, would that be helpful to you? Fantastic. So you know what? I'll come back in 3 months and I'll give you a go at it. And during that 3 months, do you have any friends that run similar businesses that you think would be helpful for you too? If so, I'll call you back in 3 months and bring them along and we'll do like a lunch and I'll give you a full demo. And now you have 10 businesses that could be interested in that because I've asked that business for some research. I said, look, for me to make something helpful, just answer some questions for me. Like, would it be beneficial for you to have a CRM in front of your business right now so you can keep data and you know what your customers are paying, all that? And they'll be like, yeah, 100%. Cool. What would you like in that CRM? Like, what is missing on today's CRM and what would you like to see as a feature? Great. So just like see what customers want, let them test it and ask. And some customers don't know what they want. So sometimes you have to guide them a little bit. Right. So you have to be good at that, right? Understanding. So that's that synergy aspect, right? Come into the room as humble as possible to learn about the business and then see how you can put that in synergy with what your knowledge is and then craft something together that can work for both, right?
That's it. Any other, I guess, suggestions you'd give for like an early stage founder who, and I think the typical early stage founder, I think what sets you apart to some degree is you came with the sales background. You have like this, and like the hardest of hard, like trying to sell a product that people don't trust, knocking on the door unasked, like unsolicited, right? So I think it just reminds me of like maybe the Beatles when they were like very first starting off. They worked in Hamburg and they no one knew who they were, and they like played 7 days a week for 10 hours a day, but like that's how they practiced and got really good. And I think for you, this like really hard period where you're just grinding it out in this awful job, but it provided you with a skill set that turns out to be very valuable. Most founders don't have that. Most founders probably came up through an engineering background or a product background or some other place that probably wasn't sales directed. So for those folks who may not be like it might not come to them naturally, or at least they weren't trained in it, how would you suggest those early stage founders try to go out and sell potentially before the product is out there, before it's too late, before there's all this debt and now they're trying to sell? So how would you if there's one tip you could give that person, what would it be?
Don't be scared to share your idea. No one's going to steal it. Just don't be scared to share your idea. Go out there, share it, talk to people. Early
too, right?
Straight away. Straight away. Like ultimately what makes an idea successful is the people who are executing it. And starting a company from start is quite hard, right? So it's not everyone can do it. Can everyone be able to do it? Yes. But you can't like have this sort of like, oh, my idea is the best in the world. People are going to steal it. You don't know that, man. You got to go out there and talk to people. Hey, what do you think about this idea? You don't even have to tell them that you're building anything. You just say, hey, what do you think about this idea? Well, the other day I was listening to this podcast and Ethan and Julia were talking about this. What do you think of this? Like you don't have to like sell your secret sauce, but there's ways and you can ask questions to see if that idea makes sense to people. Yeah.
Because if it doesn't make sense early, it probably won't make sense if you add a lot more complexity to the solution.
Right, and it's fine if it doesn't make sense early. That's probably even better, right? Because it's like, oh, cool. Now I've got this like rock, and I know there's a diamond in there, so it's a little muddy right now. I've got to dry it up, right? And then I can scrape off the mud when it's dried, and then I can shape it. Whatever your processes are, right? That process is a key thing for me. That's an asset that I learned really early. You have, in my opinion, is another good advice for early stage founders. Try and find a process that works for you, that you can hold yourself accountable to that particular timeline and the objectives that you're trying to achieve. So I'm really old school. I love writing, pen and paper.
Right.
And I'm doing double the work, but it doesn't matter because that moment when I'm writing, that's when I'm most creative, right? When I'm pen to paper, I've got time to think about it. I'm not my fingers on typing away and like how many words can I get in a second to get my thought out there. It's not about that. It's about like just breathing in one word and understanding why you wrote that word and then just taking some time, right? So processes is important. And I've got one more. Don't rush. Like there's a lot of people, I hear this a lot, and in some instance it is true. In most of the instance it isn't like, oh, you got to be the first to market, quickly get out there. And that's why I don't like taking on VC money, especially, right? They've got a different, VC money has a different agenda, right? I'm not going to not take money if it makes sense, but I'm just saying that when you're early and you're first starting off, don't think of it like, oh, how do I raise money quickly? Because once I raise money, I can build a team and the team can go in there and make the sales for me. No. Go out there, make the sales, understand it, and if you can, hold off raising money as long as possible, if possible, right? Depending on what your goals are and objectives or your extra strategy. But yeah, those are my three things, right? Processes, 100% processes. Don't be afraid to not share your secret. Definitely share your secret. And I think, what was the third one? I've forgotten now. There was a third one there, but the point is, you just go out there, just do it. Like, okay, so there's this thing that we do with this group of friends, and we look at individual founders and startups, and we look at them and go, oh wow, this person's amazing, but they've got the great idea and everything else, but they're afraid to share it. They're afraid to talk about it.
Yeah.
All right. And then so that really, yeah, those are my advice.
That's fantastic. Thanks for sharing that. And I think there's a lot of people out there who are building, and I think that would be super helpful. So thank you. Grounding this in Los Angeles, sounds like you may have a good one, given you came here for the acting career. We like to ask on this podcast, what's your most LA moment? What's the most LA thing? It can be tech related. It doesn't have to be.
My most LA moment. Oh my God. So the first time I came to Los Angeles was in 2007 for the martial arts business, right?
Nice.
And I met this young kid. He was a kid, but he was training the martial arts. The martial arts I do is capoeira, which is a Brazilian martial arts.
Okay.
It's like a dance, etc. But there was this little kid who was doing it, and he was great energy. Straight off the bat, you could see this kid's going to be really good at something. Fast forward 10 years or so, something like that. I met this kid. He's grown up. He's a man now. And his name is Trevor Jackson. And he's not probably that famous. He's in Growish and all that. But he's a kid that's definitely going to be like a Will Smith, for sure. For sure. Trevor Jackson.
That's awesome.
And so I love hanging around with him. I love seeing his growth. He just did a movie recently with Jennifer Lopez. So he's like amazing. So I don't know if that's an LA experience.
That's a pretty, you kind of see a kid grow up. He's like, oh, he's got potential, and you actually see him grow up into that potential.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
Yeah. So that's, it's good times. LA is an interesting city.
Oh, it's a great city, and it's a great place for people building. So I'm very, very happy to have you in here as sharing your story and as part of the LA community. This is great, Julio. So thank you so much.
Ethan, my pleasure. Anytime, man. I'm down to come down and have a chat with you anytime.
Yeah, we'll have to have you back in a few months, post launch, and hear more of hear more progress and hear what's new.
100%. I'm down for it.
Awesome. We've been speaking with Julio Chaves. He's the founder and CEO at XrossWorld. Like to thank our sponsors, Nearshore, Unita, and we have a new sponsor, prodhub.ai. You can build better products with prodhub.ai, where innovation meets efficiency. Automate your PRDs, fast track your story creation, and speed up your product team with a single platform. It's your co-pilot for product management. Discover more at prodhub.ai. That's prodhub.ai. I'd like to thank you all for listening to us again. And if you like what you hear, please smash that subscribe button. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll catch you next time on Founders in LA.